What does high score mean? New high score, is that bad? What does that mean? Should I break it?
Hello everyone and welcome to Veteran Gaming. I am Aaron. Tonight we're going to be talking about Eternal Evolution and a hero that I feel like I may have neglected possibly for entirely too long. I've been focused on some other heroes. I finally just got this one up to Immortal just by pulling cards and playing the game long enough. And I am, of course, talking about the War God, Omar. This dude can pack a punch, and I'm going to show a demonstration a little bit later, but first we're going to dive into his kit a little bit and talk about what he can do. So he is a Terran energy-based hero. His first common here, he's going to fire an AoE shell that's going to inflict 150% of attack as damage, and then once you have the talent, it's going to leave a flame on the ground that's going to deal 80% attack as damage per second to enemies within the range, lasting 4 seconds, which is very nice. His second common, he's going to fire an explosive overhead shell, going to explode again, an AoE. Pretty simple ability there. His passive is pretty interesting because when Omar inflicts damage from a skill, he's going to gain a shield equal to 61% of his attack. And if Omar hits somebody when he has a shield on, it's going to inflict burn on the enemy, which is going to increase damage taken from Omar by 5% for 10 seconds, and it can stack up to 3 times, and then once you get the talent, 4 times. So you can increase damage taken from Omar by 20%. Basically the entire time, as long as he's got that shield up, as long as he's not taking a ton of damage, as long as he's got a healer keeping him up there. And then his ultimate ability, he's going to summon 2 bombers to carpet bomb the area. Again, an AoE ability. So the thing that's kind of interesting about Omar here that makes him a little bit more viable than some of the other energy heroes, once we get into his exclusive here, saturation bombing inflicts bonus damage depending on how few targets it has, up to 14%. And then as you raise the exclusive levels, it's going to do more damage. So actually, as you get this guy up to Immortal, and if you want to put into the exclusive here, he's actually going to do more damage to a single target the more you put into this, which is actually kind of turning him into a hybrid character. And as you guys know, I love hybrid characters. I love the Falvea, I love the Old John, and any hero that can perform more than one job in this game is just better for your roster. That way you're not putting resources into 2 characters that maybe one character can handle. So he's a very, very intriguing. I haven't actually had a chance to move him up in the exclusives yet. I'm not entirely sure I'm going to do that, just the way my roster is built. But if I was a beginning player, he's obviously very easy to get a hold of. So it might be worth it to put some resources into him. I do have all of his talents filled in for damage purposes for the testing I did. And the other kind of good thing about Omar is he's a little bit flexible on the gear you can put him in. So I currently have him in a Surge set with Sun Signet for his crit rate, but I also tested him in Gluttony set, and it really wasn't that much different. I ran it 3 times with Surge, and I had a 4.1 million on the low side, but then I had a 5.1 and a 5.4 million. Whereas Gluttony set, with again a Sun Signet set, ran it at 4.5 and 4.9. So it didn't have the highs that the Surge set had, but it also didn't have that low one, the 4.1 that Surge had. So I think I can confidently say Surge is probably a little bit better considering all of his abilities are AoE, except the passive. So you're getting a good boost there from the Surge set, but shockingly the Gluttony set works really, really well too. I don't know if that's because the burn gets up higher quicker, because he's getting more attacks out or what, but it's very nice that he's flexible in different gear sets and can still do some good damage. So the thing I found the most interesting for good old Omar here was how he compares to some of the other energy-based heroes. So we're jumping into Sinsara Marsh here, and I have him competing against a Paluno, who's fully evolved, and a Murphy Row, who is Evolution Immortal 4. They both also have exclusive 10, and they both have their talents filled out exactly the same as Omar for the most part. And it's kind of crazy that Omar really sticks with them and mostly out damages them, especially because he gives himself a shield, which in the new exclusive levels of Sinsara Marsh, where the boss is putting out significantly more damage to all of the heroes involved, it might be a really, really big boon to have an energy hero out there doing good damage that is also helping to protect himself. That way it's not so much on the healer, because obviously it doesn't matter what his damage is if he's dead. So if he gives himself some survivability, makes him a much more interesting hero. And the fact that he can already, you can see, outdamage Murphy Rowe and Pluno, even though his evolution level is much lower, it seems like he's going to be a much more viable hero to level up than either Murphy Rowe or Pluno, which is something I was not expecting at all. I've been a big fan of Murphy Rowe and Pluno. Obviously, they're not knocking out the damage charts against Triple S's, but I've always felt like they held their own. But, I mean, frankly, if Omar is going to do this kind of damage and give himself survivability, I think it's a no-brainer as to who you're going to try to pick up in the energy category. He also does affect Grace. He will trigger Grace's jet to come in and do the damage. So you can see here, 5.4 against 4.1 and 3.7. He is the second overall damage next to Nord. So a very cool character. I don't know if I really owe Omar an apology, because I never talked bad about him. But at the same time, I almost think I owe all of my viewers an apology for not picking up on how good he could be earlier, and how he does actually, I mean, he turns into a bit of a hybrid. When you get exclusive levels into him, he gives himself a shield. He does good damage. This is just a good character. I did not rate him highly enough. So if you guys need a little help in your energy, if you are just starting out, I recommend Omar over Paluno, over Murphy Rowe. Let's see. Over Nagrama for sure. I mean, he's just a solid character. You know, when he gets into the Falvea and the Kane, then he might start to tail off a little bit. But I'm going to come out here somewhat soon here with a general rating for all of the energy heroes. So I'll follow up on that. But Omar, good hero, can absolutely be utilized, can be purchased. And I'm going to go ahead from the advanced store and purchase one right now to show you I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I do believe in Omar. So there you go. There's the video for tonight, guys. Hopefully this helps. Believe in Omar. He's a little bit of a Swiss Army knife. He protects himself. He does good damage. He is the war god. If you guys like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. It helps me out immensely. And as always, have fun. Good luck.
So I got that going for me, which is nice.